Hello, I'm King, and welcome back to the next part of NEWBIE Chronicles. So, this one's probably not as interesting, but I wanted to show what I was doing earlier, because this is something that I feel like not a lot of people show their actual thought process on, which would be unwrapping your models. I know a lot of times when I was learning how to do this, a lot of the information you can find is pretty much just, you know, the textbook explanation of how to do this and why you do it and yada yada yada, but never really a thought process on it. So I'm gonna give mine. So this is a wardrobe that I had built for the game, and so now I have to go through the tedious process of unwrapping it all. And so this is sped up to double speed. I really wish I could do it that fast, but I can't. So anyway, so what you're gonna see here is I am going through and basically breaking up all of my geometry into sections. So these red lines here, those are called seams. So what's gonna happen is when I, press my unwrap button, it's gonna take all the seams that I've created, and it's gonna basically cut all my geometry into pieces on those red lines. And the reason you want to do this is because when you are texturing your objects, you're basically, so what you're trying to do is you're trying to take a 3D or a three-dimensional object, right, and put 2D textures on it. You'll see it later in the video, but the UV space that you're working in is 2D, it's not 3D, right? So you have to make your textures work on a 2D plane. And so the process of unwrapping is a lot like, it's kind of like reverse origami, right? So I have the finished product, now I need to unfold it so that it lays out flat, like a sheet of paper. So anyway, yeah, so this is just kind of going through, trying to kind of reverse solve the puzzle of like, all right, how can I break this up into a bunch of flat surfaces? Which, when you're working on stuff like this right here, right, the bottom is pretty straightforward. It's a flat surface. But as you can see, when I start going around doing the like the support beams and the corners and everything, it gets a little more difficult, right? Especially when I zoom in here, you'll see the bevels, which is the soft edges, that it makes everything look nicer, and it's kind of a realism thing. I mean, no matter what you think, there are no perfectly sharp, straight edges in like, that's not a thing that exists in the world, right? Everything, even the blade of a knife, has a very albeit small, but it has a bevel to it, right? So anyway, so what that does for geometry, as you can see, is it makes these really, 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 really annoying polygons, right, that I have to now split up and figure out how the hell I'm going to make those unfold flat. And there's definitely better ways to do it than I do it, but I kind of do it by trial and error, where I know certain things, like you'll see when I go into those corners like here, right? And I know that that's going to unfold, and I want that little triangle piece to, unfold by itself. Otherwise, what it's going to do is it's going to warp all the pieces it's connected to, and instead of unfolding flat, like straight across, it's going to kind of do this weird curvy, turny thing. And while technically, yes, that'll be flat, when you throw a texture on it, your texture is going to be, it's going to curve across it, right? Which is not what you want, especially when you're doing something like this, which is going to be a wood texture. You want it to be flat, right? You want it to be uniform, just like, if you were carving this out of a piece of wood, all the grain of the wood would be going in the same direction. Same concept, right? You want it to be like that. So anyway, so what these bevels do is they just kind of make things more annoying. And that's what a lot of this unwrapping process, at least this particular one, is dealing with these bevels. But yeah, let me skip ahead here a little bit and see if we can kind of see some other stuff that's going on. Yes, so when I get into these corners here, especially these top parts, it starts getting a little weird, because now I have to like really start kind of thinking about, okay, what how do I want this to unfold, How many pieces do I want to kind of come out? Do I want to completely separate it all together? Blah, 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 blah. And you can see there's more corners, a whole bunch of those corners, and it's quite annoying. Here we go. So these top pieces were kind of the most annoying part. They weren't super confusing to figure out, but we were just a little irritating because it's just nothing but these beveled corners here. And then also at a certain point, let's jump ahead a little bit. I noticed that on top I had some n-gons, which are polygons with more than 4 edges, points, same thing, I guess, which from an art standpoint doesn't matter, but from a game standpoint, engines don't like that. It can really just mess with your stuff. You'll see it right up there at the top. I'll stop on it when we get to it. But so you need to cut those up and fix them, and usually, so there you go. See, so I connected those points. Back it up a little bit. See it? Here we go. Yeah, so you can see I'm now connecting those to get rid of the 5 sides. Back it up one more time. There we go. Pause it. See? So before I made this line, you had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points. That's not going to work. So I need to cut it into either 4 points per polygon or 3 points per polygon. So what I do, I just went for 3. Just connected those, turned it into a nice little triangle. There we go. See? Perfect. So a lot of people like to do that like right when they're modeling. I just do it when I'm unwrapping because I don't know. I don't like breaking up the flow of or the pacing when I'm modeling. I prefer to just go, model, get it done, you know, see the finished product, and then I'll go through and start fixing up, you know, pieces and stuff. Yeah, so that's what's going on there. And then this is just going to be rinse, repeat. You know, I got to do this all around all 4 corners. Super fun. Here we go again. Another one of those. I think at some point I come down to the bottom, do the bottom 2 because it clicks for me. I'm like, oh, well, if it's on top, it's on the bottom too, huh? Yeah. Just going through. Yep, there it is. Let's see what else is going on over here for anyone that does 3D modeling. I'm sure this can be a little frustrating for you to see. All my my copied cubes, no names. I go through. I don't name things as I make them. I kind of go same thing, right, with the pacing of, you know, modeling out my scene or whatever. I just kind of go, make, and then later I'll come back and I'll start naming everything. And a lot of that too is because a lot of these are just duplicates of pieces that are ended up going to get deleted anyway, right? Because let's say I know some of these are going to be like a wood pillar, right, that I have all throughout the entire scene. I only need one of them because I'm going to unwrap it, texture it, and then once I do that, delete the rest, and then come back and, you know, now I can rename it and duplicate that one across anyway. But just, yeah, little thing there. Yeah, still going through here. Super fun, arduous process. It's not really the most exciting part of this, you know, 3D modeling, whatever, but to me, at least, it's one of the more interesting ones because it's a puzzle, right? And while it's incredibly frustrating most of the time, it's also super satisfying when you figure it out, you know, and then you hit that unwrap button and you see the, you know, that perfectly flat, everything straight, you know, laid out the way you wanted it to be, and it's very nice. Let's jump ahead here and let's see it. Yeah, so you can see here. Let's back up a little bit. So right here, I think I'm done. Hit my unwrap button and then bam. And so now I'm going to start looking through here. This is the 2D UV tile that I was talking about. So this is where everything has to lay out flat, because this is what you're going to do is you're just going to lay textures across this, and you want them to look, you know, correct on your model over here. And so right away I kind of start looking at this piece here. I'm like, okay, something's off here. So let's just kind of watch as I look through it. So I see this. So right here you can see this is the those top pieces. So you can see where I was fixing the 5-sided polygon here, and you can see like why I kind of broke up those corner bevels the way I did. Let's back it up a little bit. Ooh, too far. Come on, buddy, you can do it. What happened? Anyway, there we go. All right, so you can see breaking it up like that, it kind of unfolds them nicely. This one's a little weird. I don't know what happened there, but it unfolds them flat, and you know, sometimes that can goof up your texture a little bit, but you can kind of adjust that in the actual texturing process. But had I not done this, what would happen is instead of this being, you know, roughly square shaped, it would just kind of be this warped, wobbly mess, almost circle-ish, and that doesn't work. But yeah, anyway, you can see that's why we do that there. On here, here, this is where I start looking at this stuff, and you can see that this is all one giant piece, which is not how that's supposed to be. And so now you'll see me start going through trying to figure out, okay, where is this, right? Because right away I can kind of tell, okay, this is definitely the top part right over here, and this is obviously one of the corners that something is still connected, and we don't want it to be. So I go back to here, so I start looking, okay, now this one's connected. I see that the whole thing isn't connected, or is connected, sorry. So I want to look, I go back into layout here, and I'll start looking. I'm like, oh, hey, look, I am dumb. I completely missed, where is it? I don't, no. Yeah, so you see right here, I missed that side, but then here, I'm like, oh, hey, I missed the entire thing. I just didn't unwrap any of it. So now I go back, unwrap it, unwrap it, unwrap it, Go get those little corners in. Almost there. One more corner. And bam. That hit unwrap. And then ta-da! See? Now you can see that whole giant wonky piece is gone. So what that did is it broke it up right. No, actually I think that's a front piece, but no, that is the side. I think. I don't know. But you can see that that big funky piece is gone. And so now I'm going to go through, kind of do the same thing, look for anything that doesn't look correct. Here's those corners again. Okay, so actually I want to back it up there. I want to look at those corners. Kind of show you my lazy thought process on that one. Why are you doing this to me? There we go. Okay, so these corners. So technically it's correct to unwrap these corners the same way I was doing the other ones. But I will kind of trial and error this, right? And from doing this enough, I kind of know that this will unwrap more or less okay. And so you can see that it's not, even though this is a, you know, it's supposed to be a straight piece, you can tell it's right, it's not, it's crooked, it's kind of bowing out the middle. But I know from, you know, the experience that I have that that's not going to affect it very much. And so here you can see I find another piece like, okay, this doesn't look right. And then so now I just kind of go through the process of like, all right, figure out where it is. You know, what am I looking at here? I kind of look at the polygons, try to figure out, okay, what you know, what piece is this, right? What matches up? Where is it? And then eventually I find it. Yep, there we go. So it was this bottom piece, you know, it was wrapping all the way around, and because we had those bevels on it, it started warping it rather than projecting it out as a flat plane. So I break it up, a little more, and skip ahead, and then bam. Now you can see everything's laying out nice and clean. You know, things are still a little crooked, not the worst thing ever. I can always go in afterwards and break those up, you know, straighten them out. Here we go. So here's those nice corner pieces. Again, that little weird one, but I'm not going to worry about it. It's not going to affect it that much. And that you can see is that's supposed to be curved. Now I know that, so I'm just looking through. Everything looks to be, you know, to an acceptable level. Anything else I want to fix, I can just kind of do in the, you know, actually over here in the UV tab. I can just start moving points around and straighten things up that way rather than re-unwrapping it. This is just to show that, hey, I've got my, you know, I've got all the cuts where I want them to be, so now I'll just go through and straighten it up. But anyway, yeah, so that's the fun process of unwrapping stuff. And yeah, that's it. I don't know. Hopefully that was helpful or insightful or something, because I know that was something I always struggled with when I was trying to learn, you know, proper ways to do this, was finding someone who just talked through their own process, right? Because anyone can tell you, yeah, you unwrap this way to do this, but it's, at least for me, I would just kind of hear the information, but I wouldn't really retain or understand it. And when you just try and copy paste something, you're not really learning it, right? But anyway, so hopefully you know, that little thought process helped. And then let's see, close that out. Yeah, there we go. All right, and so since I'm already here, we'll do just a quick little showing of what I've got going on at the moment. I got a little more work done since, damn it, it's not the right one. There we go. A little more work done since the last time I posted. And so we've added a bit more, trying to fill out the room a bit more. I also started, swap over here to the material tab. There we go. You can see I started assigning some material IDs to everything, just so I can start getting a better picture of how I'm gonna be texturing this. And so what goes on here is basically every color is going to be its own separate texture. And the reason I do this is because of the fact that I'm working in Substance Designer and Substance 3D Painter, right? For anyone familiar with texturing in Photoshop, this doesn't really matter, right? You don't need to do this at all, because basically what you would be doing is putting, let's say this right here, you put this entire object onto one texture page. I mean, you could even combine a bunch of them, right? Say that one, that one, that one. I could put all of these on one texture page, and you know, each section would have its own different texture. But when working in Substance Painter and well, yeah, it all comes out of Substance Painter. But when working in Substance, you work off of IDs, and there could be a different way of doing this. This is the way I know how to do it. So each ID is going to create its own separate texture page, completely separate from, you know, every other texture on the object, right? So this wall here is going to give me 3 separate textures when I come through. It's going to give me, you know, the green one, the blue one, and the purple one. And so this is just helping me understand which ones are going to go together, right? So you can see like this wall here and this wall here are the exact same. So what I know is that, okay, all I need to do is put this one there, which is just going to be this piece, and then I'm going to copy it, move it over here. But then you can see like this wall here and this door, they are the same, they have the same color layout, even though they're separate objects. So what that means is I'm going to put them on the same texture page, and yeah, try and save myself a little bit of space with that. But you can see the different colors. So this one I still yeah, so anyway, all right, yeah. How could I explain this? Okay, so even though these are separate pieces with separate color layouts, I have the same texture for this interior wall side here, which I might end up changing, because I don't know if I can fit them into the same texture page without it being weird, because this one is going to have a completely separate texture page for the front side. So I might just do it separately, but anyway, that's what that had, or that's why I have all that, right? So all the different colors are going to be different texture pages, so each different wall set I have color coded differently, so that I can get a better understanding of like, okay, where am I probably going to need to do separate textures versus same textures. Right, so like these 2 walls are going to be the same. There's those pillars I was talking about earlier, where, yeah, I've got a bunch of them, but I only need the one so that it can be unwrapped and textured later. And then same thing, you know, all these I started assigning, even though these are all separate objects. They have the same material assigned, because, I mean, it's going to be the same, right? So it's all going to go on the same page. Yeah, but so everything that's been colored, I've already gone through this whole process of unwrapping, just like I just showed with this wardrobe, and it's been super fun. Actually, not too bad. I think the wardrobe is actually the more irritating and difficult one that I've done. But yeah, I don't know. That's my update for what I've been working on the last few days. I hope this was helpful or entertaining or something. But anyway, that's what I'm working on. Yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hope I see you in the next update. Bye.